Hello friends, welcome to today's session. I'm Soni and I'll take you through today's session. So what had we discussed yesterday? We had talked about prepositions. We talked about what are prepositions and also the kinds of prepositions. So today we'll recap yesterday's session and do a lot of exercises, quiz and tests. So let's go ahead and first check what were prepositions. In fact, what are prepositions? Yes, a preposition is a word which shows the relation between a noun or a pronoun and some other part of the sentence. That means noun or pronoun को sentence से जोड़ता है. It gives you a relation. For example, the book is lying on the bed. Now it tells you the relation between the book and the bed. क्या relation है? Book bed के ऊपर पड़ी है. So on becomes the preposition here. The mouse is under the bed. In this case, mouse bed के ऊपर नहीं है, उसके नीचे है. So under becomes the preposition. We had discussed the three kinds of prepositions. The preposition of time, of place and motion. We had discussed different words which act as preposition of time, place and motion. Let's quickly go and revise some of them. Let's come to the preposition of time first. The first preposition we talked about was, yes, open your books and tell me. Yes, at, at. So at is used to indicate a definite point of time, a specific point. For example, the meeting would be held at night or at morning. You tell a specific time. Next we have talked about in. In tells you about a period of time. Not one time but a period, a span. For example, I'll meet you in an hour. You'll meet that person in an hour means एक घंटे में, के दौरान. So this word दौरान means the period. In again indicates a period of time. Next we did was on. On is used when we talk about particular days or dates. Like I was born on the 1st of March. On 1st of March. You're talking about a particular date, the 1st of March. So you use the word on. Or the accident took place on Thursday. You're talking about a specific day, the name of a day when the accident took place. Again, you use the word on. From and to. Now, from indicates the time when an action started and to indicates the time when it ended. For example, I study from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day. Well, if you do that, it's excellent. You study a lot, but do relax and play as well. So the word from told the start of an action. सुबह 8 बजे से रात के 10 बजे तक. So from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Another preposition of time we talked about was since and for. Since is used with a point of time and for is used with a period of time. Since Saturday I have a bad cold. Means Saturday से लेके आज तक मुझे जुकाम है. I have a bad cold. So since Saturday you have specified a point of time. Or you can say for the past 2 months I have a bad cold. That means a period of time. You have not named the months. You have not specified any day or date. You've just told about a period of time. For the past 2 months is your period. We also talked about the preposition by. By is used to indicate a time not later than. It actually tells you about a limit, ek had. For example, do this work by Tuesday. Your teacher is annoyed with you. You've not done your homework. So she gives you a warning. Do this work by Tuesday. That means till Tuesday. Tuesday is the last day. You need to do this work by Tuesday. You can do it before Tuesday, but not after Tuesday. So by indicates a time not later than. We talked about during as well. During is used to indicate an action taking place through a given period of time. That means over a period of time. I'll go ahead and visit my grandmother during my holidays. That means जब holidays चल रही होंगी उस time, during that period of time, you would go and visit your grandmother. So during indicates an action which will take place through a given period of time. So these were the prepositions of time which we had talked about. We also discussed prepositions of place, right? So let's go ahead and do a quick recap of the prepositions of place. Again, in the preposition of place, the first one we discussed was at. Now, at is used with a specific house, a building, or a small town. At home. I like spending most of my time at home, your small house, your specific place. Or put it at the top. Again, a specific position you are telling. Put the book at the top of the other books. We also talked about in. In being the preposition of place this time. In is used with a country or to talk of a position within boundary or a large town. That means the area covered by in is more as compared to the one covered by at. For example, in the sun. Let's go and sit in the sun. Or, as I told you, it also tells you about the position within boundaries. In a straight line. Or in a circle. Stand in a circle. Within the boundary of a circle, you need to stand. This is how we can use the preposition of place in. Next is on. On is used to say that something is resting on or is in contact with a surface. Like, the monkey is sitting on the tree. The monkey is resting on. वो tree के ऊपर है. So, ऊपर means on. The monkey is resting on the tree. Or sit on the ground. ज़मीन पर बैठ जाओ. Sit on the ground. Again, on telling you about the place or the surface you need to sit on. Above and below. Above is used when we want to say that a thing is higher than another thing. Like this hand is above this hand. The left hand is above the right hand. Similarly, below is used when we want to say that a thing is lower than another thing. Above, below. For example, your body temperature is above the normal. That means normal is a standard, but you have crossed that standard. You are higher as compared to the standard. Or it can also be the other way. Your body temperature is below the normal. You're weak. Your body temperature is below the normal. We also talked about between and among. Now you tell me, when do we use between and when do we use among? Between is used when we speak of the position of an object. Place your finger between the two books. That means two books are lying and you need to place your finger between them. Whereas among is used when an object is surrounded by more than two objects. That means ghira hua, surrounded. For example, he was standing all alone among his relatives. Or Sita is the only person I talk to among all my friends. That means Sita is the only one you talk to and there are other friends also in the picture, but you only talk to Sita. So this is how we use between and among. Make sure you use them in the correct way. Then we talked about against. Against is used to show that something is used as a support. Don't rest your feet against the bed. Or go and rest the ladder against the wall. That means the wall will act as a support for the ladder. Next, let's talk about or let's revise the prepositions of motion. We discussed different prepositions of motions. The first one was into. When do you use into? Yes, I'm asking you. कब करते हो into use? Yes, you? Right. Into is used to indicate motion from outside to inside. बाहर से कुछ अंदर फेंको into. I had thrown your picture into the fire. Why? Because I was angry with you. So मैंने बाहर से जलती हुई आग में आपकी पिक्चर फेंक दी. So that is where you use into. And when do you use along? Along is used to indicate movement from one end to another end. Along the well, along the park, from one end to another end. Do you remember a similar definition? I had told you about the major difference between along and across. Because across is used to indicate a movement from one side to another side. Along is for one end to another end, and across is from one side to another side. Across the river, from one side of the river to another side of the river. We talked about towards and to as well. Towards means in the direction of, किसी चीज़ की दिशा में. And to means to indicate your destination, your end point. I'm going to Shimla. So Shimla is your destination, the final point. By and with. They are also prepositions of motion. By is used to express the means of an action. For example, I'll go to Delhi by train. With is used to indicate the instrument to do something. I write with a pen. With shows that the pen is an instrument of writing. You use the pen to write something. So by indicates the means of an action and with indicates the instrument to do something. So this was about the different prepositions, the preposition of place, time and motion. We did a recap today. I hope you've understood the prepositions in detail now. But let's do some exercises to check whether you really understood or not. So let's go ahead and do some exercises. Now in the first exercise, you need to fill in the blanks with the prepositions of time. So keep your prepositions of time in front of you and then attempt the exercise. It would become very easy for you. The first sentence, I'll be working dash 7 o'clock. I'll be working dash 7 o'clock. I'll do the first one for you. It is I'll be working till. Very good. 7 baje tak. I'll be working till 7 o'clock. Next, now I'll not do this one for you. You have to do it on your own. I'll be back dash half an hour. I'll be back dash half an hour. Next, I suddenly felt ill dash the examination. I suddenly felt ill dash the examination. Next, they were working in the garden dash 3 o'clock dash 7 o'clock. They were working in the garden dash 3 o'clock dash 7 o'clock. Next, Carol got married dash 1994. Carol got married dash 1994. Next one, the book was easy to read, so I read it dash a day. The book was easy to read, so I read it dash a day. Next, they have lived there dash 20 years. They have lived there dash 20 years. Next, we were at the party dash midnight. We were at the party dash midnight. Next, they were at school dash 2 o'clock. They were at school dash 2 o'clock. Last one, I saw him last dash the morning. I saw him last dash the morning. So you had 10 sentences and I hope you've done the exercise. I gave the first answer to you. I'll be working till 7 o'clock. Now let's discuss the other answers. I'll be back dash half an hour. I'll be back in half an hour. 1 घंटे में वापस आ जाऊंगा. आधे घंटे में वापस आ जाऊंगा. I suddenly felt ill dash the examination. जब एग्जाम चल रहा था, I started feeling ill. I suddenly felt ill during the examination. Next, they were working in the garden dash 3 o'clock dash 7 o'clock. Now you're telling about a time when they were working. They started working 3 baje, they ended working 7 baje. So they were working in the garden from 3 o'clock to 7 o'clock. Next, Carol got married in 1994 because you've specified the year. Which year? You've specified that. Next, the book was easy to read, so I read it in a day. एक दिन के अंदर अंदर I read it. Next, they have lived there dash 20 years. Now out here you've specified a period of time. 20 years is a period of time. So for 20 years. We were at the party dash midnight. We were at the party till midnight. मतलब midnight tak we were there in the party. Next, they were at school dash 2 o'clock. They were at school at 2 o'clock. 2 बजे exact वो स्कूल में थे. Next, I saw him last dash the morning. I saw him last in the morning. So did you get all 10 right? Excellent. Let's go ahead and attempt another exercise. This time you'll have to fill in the blanks with prepositions of place. Let's start with the exercise. The first sentence. The headquarters of the United Nations is dash New York. I'll give you the first one. The headquarters of the United Nations is in New York. New York में है. Now you'll have to do the others on your own. Next, in most countries, people drive dash the right. In most countries, people drive dash the right. Next, I usually buy a newspaper dash my way to work. I usually buy a newspaper dash my way to work. Next, last year we had a lovely skiing holiday dash the Swiss Alps. Last year we had a lovely skiing holiday dash the Swiss Alps. Next, San Francisco is dash the west coast of the United States. San Francisco is dash the west coast of the United States. Next, she spends most of the day sitting dash the window. She spends most of the day sitting dash the window. Next, the report about the accident was dash the front page of the newspaper. The report about the accident was dash the front page of the newspaper. Next, in the theater we had seats dash the front row. In the theater we had seats dash the front row. Next, write the name and address dash the front page of the letter. Write the name and address dash the front page of the letter. The last one. It's dangerous to play football dash the streets. It's dangerous to play football dash the streets. So you've done the exercise? Good. And I hope those of you who scored less than 5 last time, you'll score 10 on 10 this time. So let's go ahead and discuss the solutions. I gave you the first one. The headquarters of the United Nations is in New York. Next, in most countries, people drive on the right. Next, I usually buy a newspaper dash my way to work. On my way to work. On is the correct answer. Next, last year we had a lovely skiing holiday in the Swiss Alps. Next, San Francisco is on the west coast of the United States. So the answer is on. Next one, she spends most of the day sitting at the window. Next, the report about the accident was on the front page. Not in the front page, but on the front page of the newspaper. Next, in the theatre we had seats in the front row. Front row में seats थी हमारी. In the front row. Next one, write the name and address on the front page of the letter. And the last one, it's dangerous to play football in the streets. Right? So this time, how many of you got less than 5? No one? Are you being honest? Good. None of you should get less than 5. That's a very, very poor score. You all should get 10 on 10. You have another exercise to score full marks. Let's see how many of you go ahead and score full marks in this exercise. So it's again a great challenge. You need to fill in the blanks using the prepositions of motion. The first sentence, he jumped dash the fire. I gave you a similar example if you remember. The photograph, something like that. Right. He jumped dash the fire. Next one, he threw it dash the water. He threw it dash the water. Next, she walked dash the river. She walked dash the river. Next, there are trees all dash the road. There are trees all dash the road. Next one, he walked dash the highway. He walked dash the highway. Next, the boys swam dash the pond. The boys swam dash the pond. Next, I saw her going dash the hotel. I saw her going dash the hotel. Next one, she's going dash Kanpur. She's going dash Kanpur. I've also given you a similar example if you remember. Next, he makes his living dash farming. He makes his living dash farming. Last, she was bitten dash a snake. She was bitten dash a snake. Quickly revise your answers before we discuss the solutions. Alright, let's go ahead and discuss the answers to the exercise. He jumped into the fire. Because the fire is in motion, something comes from outside, goes inside. He jumped into the fire. Next, he threw it again into the water. She walked along the river. Next, there are trees all along the road. Next, he walked across the highway. He walked across the highway. Next one. The boys swam across the pond because they swam from one end of the pond to the other end, across the pond. Next, I saw her going towards the hotel, in the direction of the hotel. Remember, when do we use towards? When we need to refer to a direction. Uski taraf, us disha mein. So I saw her going towards the hotel. Next, she's going to Kanpur. Kanpur being the destination. Next, he makes his living by farming. Next, and the last one. She was bitten by a snake. So this was an exercise on the prepositions of motion. I hope all of you got all the answers correct this time because we've practiced a lot by now. Now there's one more exercise in which you need to fill in the blanks with the prepositions to, in, for or between. So you have four options. You can either write to, in, for or between. Just these four. Do not use any other preposition. We have couple of sentences. You need to fill in the blanks using these four prepositions. Let's get started with the exercise. He has no faith dash his dreams. Remember, to, in, for, between. He has no faith dash his dreams. Next, there was a sudden fall dash temperature at night. There was a sudden fall dash temperature at night. Next, what is the difference dash a rat and a mouse? What is the difference dash a rat and a mouse? Remember, in, to, for, between. Don't use any other preposition. Just these four. Any one out of them. Next, he has found a solution dash this problem. He has found a solution dash this problem. And the last one. He has no interest dash farming. He has no interest dash farming. Just 5 sentences. Score 5 out of 5 this time. Let's start with the solutions. The first one, he has no faith dash his dreams. You don't have faith in something. So it is, he has no faith in his dreams. There was a sudden fall dash temperature at night. A sudden fall in temperature. Next, what is the difference dash a rat and a mouse? Usually with difference we use between. What is the difference between you and your friend? So the word between. Next, he has found a solution for this problem. For is the word used here. The last one, he has no interest in farming. So you had 4 prepositions and you had to fill these blanks with the 4 given prepositions. Now let's go ahead. I have something for you need to do when you go home. It's a home assignment for you all. So it's a passage and there are some blanks in the passage. What you're required to do is fill in the blanks, of course. Fill in the blanks with the prepositions we've learnt. With any kind of preposition. Let it be of place or motion, whichever fits in. So let's get started. When I'm driving dash the street, I tend dash notice a lot dash bad drivers. Sometimes I wonder dash myself how these people can be given a license. There must be something wrong dash the testing centers. Sometimes people who try dash be too careful are actually the ones who end dash causing traffic accidents. For example, I often notice a lot of drivers who drive dash 60 kilometers per hour dash the fast lane dash an 80 km/h zone. So was it a difficult one? No. Why? Because you have all the time with you. You'll go home, first you'll revise and then attempt the exercise. Revise whatever we've done today, attempt the exercise, and whenever you use these prepositions from today, try and check whether you are using them in the correct place or not. Whether you are saying on where an in should be used, or whether you are saying under where above has to be used. So you need to correct yourself. You know the reasons, you know the basics now. So go home, relax, do the home assignment and practice a lot. For the next session, bye-bye and take care.